My name is Sonya Pelia, and today I will present how I doubled the ARR at a SaaS startup in 12 months without a sales team. So today I am going to discuss the 7 strategies broadly that I have used to double SaaS revenue in 12 months. So let's first talk about the most important foundational piece, which is the content flywheel. So a content flywheel is really important because it brings organic traffic to your website. It's really important that when you start building out your content strategy, you start looking at long-form content that sits not just specific to your solution, but to the problems that your prospects and customers are trying to solve. Look at topics that are on the side. Look at topics that are trending. How do you find trending topics? Use tools such as SEMrush, Moz perhaps, and look at trending topics that are relevant to your prospects. These are people who may not even know at this point that they need your solution. But by bringing them to your website and educating and informing them, you will have the potential to convert them. Let's talk a little bit about the medium. People are consuming content in many varied forms now. So you need to present the content that you develop on your website in all of these formats, or as many as possible. So the next tactic or strategy I want to talk about is freemium, the freemium model. This is really, truly fire starter for revenue. When I speak to a lot of founders or even CEOs at startups, I'm really surprised when people tell me that there is no way that a SaaS product can have a freemium. I really disagree with this. I believe that if you have a SaaS solution, you do have a way to present a freemium. So what are some of the best practices that people have used and I myself have used? Number one is make sure your freemium is not a clickbait. It really provides true value. Really be genuine and authentic that your freemium is to help people even if they don't convert at this point. The other thing is you cannot set it and forget it. You need to be constantly testing what works. You need to be talking to your customers and finding out what are they using in the freemium. Why have they perhaps not moved over to the enterprise trial? And it's very possible that your freemium for a small percentage of your prospects may just work enough that they don't need to purchase the solution. But you really need to know this. You also should look at other leaders in your space and verticals and see how are they offering their freemium. And now we come to a really hard thing in SaaS pricing. So why is pricing such a big challenge for people? I think it's because all of us struggle with the idea of how to price our product, how frequently we should price it, and what is the true value we are providing. Here's another quote from the survey that ProfitWell I mentioned a couple of slides ago. It is so critical, pricing is so critical that if you don't change your price, your average revenue per user, your ARPU, will only grow by 10% in 5 years. Whereas if you looked at your price every quarter and changed it every quarter, your ARPU will increase by 100% in 5 years. The average time for a company to change their price is 3 years. The recommended time is every quarter. So you can imagine how much money we are leaving on the table without redoing the pricing every quarter. So here are some of the best practices that I have used and I have learned about and experienced and tested out. Focus on value and not features. Charge by user. Be generous. And what do I mean by being generous? So you have a prospect who says to you that they would like the trial, and then 2 weeks into the trial, they said they haven't had a chance to do the trial. And, be generous. Give them another 4 weeks. Reach out to them and say, can I help you through the trial? Can I set it up with you? Be really generous. If somebody complains about your software, we have this policy at one of my startups I was at, where if they complained and said they didn't see value in the product and they'd been using it for 3 months, my CEO would say, okay, we refund your entire subscription. Fine. And it really enabled customers to understand that we were genuine and authentic about helping them. We were not just about making money. which of course is the end goal for everyone. Have a nonprofit rate. Two lessons that I learned very successfully and were very successful for us was not to take a credit card for the free trial. We also did not have a contract at Sira Apps. Are you looking at data-driven profiles of customers? This is really important. You may think you've developed some really cool features or a really cool subsection of your solution, but if that's not what the customers want, and you price against that, you're not going to have the conversions you want. You're not going to have the adoption rates that you want. Here's a pro tip. Localize price by geo. There are other geos where you can actually price more. And if you can't price programmatically, at least price cosmetically, so that people, when they visit your website from a particular area, they actually see the price in their geos. So those were some of the pricing best practices that I have used very successfully. Now let's talk about the UI for selling SaaS. Here are some of the things to think about. Do you test on an ongoing basis how a prospect enters your website from an ad, a social media post, from perhaps a LinkedIn ad, perhaps, or a third-party site? And when they enter, what is the map that you want them to follow? What is the journey you want them to take through your website? Have you made it easy enough that everything is self-serve for them? When they go to your pricing page, they see the different options that they have for pricing. You have a detailed FAQ on pricing, which answers every possible question that they can have on pricing, including can they cancel their contract? Do you hold their credit card? Your tax ID number? There should be enough information that you reduce the time that they even need to engage via chat message or reach out to you. Do you have you heat mapped all of the key pages, your home page, your product pages, your pricing page, your conversion page? Have you looked at where the drop-off is happening? Where are the clicks happening? If you have a button that is showing a really high percentage of clicks below the fold, have you considered test it by moving it above the fold? Do you have 3 different or 4 different call to actions? A call to action, which is sign up for the freemium, start the freemium now, sign up for the enterprise trial, try the enterprise edition itself. And have you tested out which type of pages should have each type of call to action? This is really critical because your different pages, for example, informative educational blog posts, will not convert enterprise trial editions or enterprise users. They may be interested in your freemium, but are you leading them to other educational informative posts? Are you educating them on how they can solve problems, particularly in the space that you have a solution? Is your landing page optimized for SaaS best practices? Do you follow the methodology that SaaS landing pages should have, where you state the problem, you state what is the problem? If they don't have the solution, what are the challenges faced thereof, how your solution fits this? These are really, really important pieces for SaaS UI. Do you look at for example, how many clicks does it take for somebody to land on your website page and go to a conversion page? All of these need to be tested frequently. They need to be tested weekly, monthly, quarterly. It's never something that you can again set and forget on there. Let's talk about testing, that since we were talking about testing on the SaaS best practices. Truly testing everything that you do in your marketing for a SaaS company, really your life depends on it. You've got to truly do it that way. So what should you test? My question always to that is, what should you not test? And so far, I have not come across anything that you should not be testing. You should be testing messaging. When you have ad programs, look at the channels, constantly be testing new channels, drop channels that are not working, look at 3 third-party sites, do programmatic buys. Every month, look at your search engine marketing, your Google ads, shut down ads that are not performing well. In terms of freemium conversion, reduce friction in the sign-up. Your test cadence, A/B test everything. A/B test weekly. You should have projects running weekly testing, quarterly testing, monthly testing. And fail fast. If something is not working, just don't go on working on it for 3 months, 6 months. Stop it after a month and a half if you think you've given it sufficient time and sufficient budget. So all of this you do is really to make sure that you're customer first. So how do you turn customers into advocates? There are 3 areas that you should look at. First is that your onboarding process, you're helping them set up. Their problems with your software. Do you do everything possible in order to make sure your customers are successfully using your product? If you focus everything on customer first, they will become your advocates. They will be happy to give you case studies. They'll be happy to give you testimonials on third-party sites like Capterra and G2. So we would reach out to customers and ask for case studies and offer a $100 gift card. Make the case study as easy as possible. Ask them the right questions. Write up the draft. Send it to them for review. Thank them for it. Send them the gift card. We launched a customer advocacy program with the intent of forming a customer advisory board. No matter how small you are, think about a customer advisory board. It helps the customer, your IT purchaser, think about furthering their own career. It allows them to give you ideas about product growth, the features that they want, other solutions, and it helps you figure out what is product market fit for them. What are the next things they require from you? My last hack, I don't like using the word hack, but I kind of think this is a hack now, is to be creative and stand out from the competition. If you're a startup, you've got to be creative. So, we had these case studies, but the customers were not willing to be on video. So we produced really short videos, animation videos, and there's a lot of pre-prepped animation you can buy for $100 or less. And our videographer would produce these really cool-looking videos on case studies. We started a very inexpensive swag program. Talk to customers. Once you get into this cadence of having customer conversations, truly your product will be elevated, your brand is elevated, your revenue is elevated, everything gets elevated. I talked a little bit about the nonprofit rate, and I want to add to what is going on right now in this particular situation, the COVID-19 situation. A lot of companies have offered free software for a limited time or free services for a limited time in these times. Be genuine, be authentic, and offer this for free. Put an ROI calculator on your website. This is not a difficult thing to do, but it's something that will make the case for buying your product so much more stronger. So here are some of the things that I used to shift the revenue at Sira Apps. I doubled the revenue and also increased expansion in accounts and also new accounts in 12 months. I hope this was useful to you. And if you have questions or would like to chat further, please connect with me on LinkedIn or on Twitter. And I'm always happy to chat about SaaS, pricing, UI. These are my favorite topics, and I'm never tired of talking about them.